Okay, everybody. I'm a couple minutes early, and I guess I was told that Congressman Biggs might be joining from Arizona as well. Liz Harris asked me to speak about the status of things in Arizona. So, as such, I agreed to be on the call. And so I'm going to be on one computer on Zoom, and then I'll be sharing this call on StreamYard here. And so, that's where we're at. So let's take a look and post this here. And okay, let's see how this works. Okay, so update for Liz Harris in Arizona. And we'll get this out. And then we're going to kind of freestyle this, set up an alternative connection if necessary. Hold on a second. I can just text me codes. Hold on. Text me codes. Okay. And okay. So I guess I can talk for a couple minutes before they come on. And this might be a good opportunity. You guys can ask me any questions. And I'm more than happy to answer some questions while I'm waiting to be added to this Zoom call. And I did, like I said, I mentioned to them that if I'm going to be on this talking about Arizona, I'd like it to be public. I'd like to share my thoughts. Don't ask me any questions you don't want the public to hear. That's basically what I said. Arizona update with Liz Harris and Congressman Biggs. So let's just see here. And Rep Biggs. Let me see. Just know how you do it all. Oh, hey, John, I get a little tired at times. I'm not going to kid you. I definitely get a little tired. But somehow I manage to just keep my sanity. I just try to have fun and make it as festive as possible, because it does get a little draining, but I just kind of keep myself focused. BobbyPython@gmail.com is how you can get a hold of me if you like. Depends on what you need, but if you put in the information with regards to in the title what you're looking for, I'm more likely to possibly respond. I get bombarded with quite a few emails and requests from people I don't recognize, and I'm not going to kid you. Sometimes I'm concerned. I've gotten some crappy stuff where somebody's tried to send me a virus and stuff. There's some jerks out there that do that kind of thing. So I have to kind of deal with that as well. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate you guys chiming in and keeping up with this stuff, because, like I said before, we're all in this together. We need to work on this and really get this going, because times are clicking, man. We have a lot of stuff as a nation that we need to turn around. And so I think it is, please wait, the host will be letting me in soon. And so this is interesting. I think I'm going to be going live here, folks. Hello. How are you? How are you?
Anyway, can we hear him?
Bobby, in the far left corner, you'll see a mute sign. You muted.
Oh, I'm muted? Oh, so there I am. I'm unmuted now. So, okay. So here's the deal. You guys tell me.
Just to tell you that Liz Harris is giving you an introduction right now.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I'm going to put you on and you can speak, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you. Okay.
Bobby, go ahead. You're on the air.
Okay. Well, I mentioned this to Liz. I guess number one, thank you guys for inviting me to.
Hold on, we've got a sound problem here.
Sure.
I don't know where.
Okay. This is gonna be. I'm just like talking here. Hold on a second. This may be a little weird, folks.
Try it now, Bobby.
Because I'm gonna be talking here, but also so I want you guys to hear. Yes. You want me to start now?
No, hold on.
Okay.
Well, we're trying to get the sound that's on here, and the only thing that sound's coming in is on my computer. And we're hooking you up for everybody, and nobody else can hear you right now.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Matt, where's our technical guy? So hold on a minute.
Sure. No problem.
But nice to meet you finally.
Oh, nice to meet you as well. And I appreciate the invite. Okay. And so maybe this is a little better. They're just getting it set up, folks, because I think there's like 90 people there that are volunteers for Arizona that are going over stuff. And, and Matt, I appreciate the sentiment to run for office. I'd rather help really good people run for office at this point. I did make a deal with God that if something happens, I would consider running.
For this, guys.
But I haven't seen that come to fruition. I'm not saying I know if it will come to fruition, but anyways, I apologize for the lighting, folks, because I have two computers on a different angle and so forth. But if you guys want to help run for office, please help Tom Simonian of Geneva become mayor. If you want to email me at Bobby Piton and you have a couple hours, you want to donate some time calling people or emailing people in Geneva, I'm more than happy to send you some lists of people that you can do, and that would be wonderful. It'd be wonderful if we got rid of a corrupt mayor of Geneva and replaced them with someone who's independent. Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, find where my speaker is on my deal here.
Okay.
Go ahead and try it out. Do it 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
No.
I can hear you just fine. You can't hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So.
It's all up all the way. It's up all the way.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead and talk.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. You're gonna have to really make sure you speak up, okay?
Okay. I'll speak a little louder.
There we go. Okay. It's kind of like a fan.
Okay.
Sorry, Bobby, we got the Liz up and everything. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go when you are.
Go ahead, sir. It's all yours.
Okay. So I guess, Liz didn't really tell me anything in particular she wanted me to discuss, but I just thought I guess bring everybody up to speed on my involvement with still wanting to help Arizona. As I've mentioned, Arizona is ground zero for the United States. I do believe that. I think that what happens in Arizona is going to have long-term repercussions for the entire nation and probably the entire world. If we get this, if we help get this resolved, everybody, all the volunteers there, Liz, your efforts, everybody that's helping I say the once great state of Arizona, the people of Arizona are still great. Don't confuse the two, but the state is not great right now, and I think we all know that. But I will say that I'm impressed that the president of the Arizona Senate, I guess President Fan, has stepped up, as well as other senators, to move this forward when there's been a lot of lack of leadership in other states such as Pennsylvania and Georgia. So it does give me hope that Arizona is serious about getting this looked into and this issue resolved. And it does, it does cheer me up, because I think a lot of us out there, I think there's a lot of Americans that probably feel the same way I do, that we just want to see a fair game. It's one thing if one side wins and the other side wins, and we're all okay with that, but we're not okay if we don't feel it was fair. And I think that the big thing that's taking place in Arizona is about restoring that fairness component to, or the perception of fairness. Let's assume everything was fair, but the perception was flawed. So I don't want YouTube to ban me. If I'm not making any accusations, folks. I'm just saying, let's look at where the data takes us. Let's figure out what needs to be corrected. And I'm very hopeful. So one thing I will say is that, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions, is I've learned a lot in the past 3 months going over Pennsylvania, Michigan. I've looked at Georgia data. I've looked at Wisconsin data, some Illinois data, and I have a completely different perspective of how to re-examine Arizona's data after seeing, over 30 million records across the nation. And so I mentioned, I spoke with somebody who might be doing some of the work for this 2.1 million vote hand count that's going to take place. I don't know if they're going to be the final choice, but I did tell a couple people that, that if they do get that position to be chosen, with if they wanted me to be involved on their team and help with the data, I will gladly do it and give them my findings. If they don't want me involved, I will gladly still do my findings and just give them to the public. So I said, you could pick. What you guys have basically done is you sped up my time horizon, because I was thinking, I could wait a few more months. I'll get to it in about 6 months. So the fact that this is kind of happening a little faster than I anticipated, it just, you guys are just adding a few more hours to my day that I have to hustle, because I know that you guys will be in a bit of a time crunch. And if I'm going to put my name onto something, I really want to make sure that it's high quality work. Otherwise I would just say, I can't do it. I'm not going to just put something out that I'm not proud of.
Being involved with statistics, and the big thing that I had saw that you came up, even though Arizona has grown by leaps and bounds, that the amount of voting registration is many, many fold over what that growth is, even if you consider children and everything else. Can you give us a little more defined of what you discovered as far as the difference between our population and the amount of growth of our voter registration?
So so since 2000, actually, I think I started in 1998. And this is an interesting observation, and I made a record of it when this occurred. When I first went to go pull all the data for Arizona, I pulled all the records off of the state website that were available at the time. So I can only go back 22 years. And one of the things I like to do when I do analysis is I try to create baseline data. So looking back as far as I can to see how things trended over the entire cycle. So like for the stock market in the United States, I'll look back 50 years, 70 years. I don't look back 5 years. I look to see how things trade relative to GDP and make all the adjustments and so forth. So I kind of took the same attitude. And then surprisingly, after my testimony, all the data showed up from the 70s up to 1998. And I told Liz, I said, Liz, I don't know who put this stuff up on that website. It wasn't there before, but what I do know is you better get into the libraries of Arizona and get me hard copies, because I don't know if that stuff's manufactured. So if these guys are trying to make it look as though this is normal swings and volatility, I don't want to be gamed. Go get me hard copies of the information, because something just seems a little too convenient after my testimony. But what I basically said is, based on the census data, right? So unless the census is wrong, which I do think we overstate the population of the U.S., but that's a different conversation. The growth of Arizona, as exceptional as it has been over the past 20 years, the number of people that Arizona had grown by, the number of people that actually voted exceeded the growth and the number of people that have come online in Arizona over a 20-year period. And so that means that every single new person over a 20-year period that moved into Arizona had to be over the age of 18. And then on top of that, on top of that crazy fact, there was nobody under 18 moved into Arizona, and every single new person that moved into Arizona over 20 years voted. So that's just absolutely amazing. you guys are like in the twilight zone there or something, because I've never would have thought we would ever witness such a thing. And then on top of that, if that wasn't bad enough, I think it was another 100,000, maybe 200,000 other people that never voted before 1998 decided to show up and vote as well in 2020. So it's bad enough it's not every single person that's new. It's also 200,000 that were missing from all the previous elections for the previous 22 years decided, you know what? This is the really big one, so I'm going to come out and vote after being on the sidelines for 22 years. That's why I'm saying it's laughable.
We were able to determine that in a short few days here in LD17 Chandler. We have 41 precincts in which we had 14 precincts that had a higher than normal voter participation, which is usually between 67 and 75%. And all of them were in very, very strong Republican precincts, including Fulton Ranch, which has got a 2-to-1 registration, Republican over Democrat. And Biden won that because there was somehow or another 89% participation rate.
Yeah, the participation rates are pretty funny. And here's one thing I also tell you, which is interesting about the data, that I've seen this across other states, and I have a feeling that it applies to Arizona as well. With regards to this data, I'm helping someone in a local race here, by the way. So this whole time I'm doing all this stuff nationwide, I started to look at some of the local races here, and there's someone running for mayor. So if somebody wants to help the next 2 weeks, return the favor for me helping Arizona. Maybe some volunteers wanted to help make some phone calls for this person running. Email me at bobbypiton@gmail and just say, help elect Tom. And then I will gladly send you some phone numbers to dial for Tom, because the current mayor we have, it's a big mess. He's almost doubled the size of the government in the past 10 years. He knocked out a perfectly good library that was worth $3 million and put in a $15 million one in a community of 22,000 people. Just all this ludicrous stuff. He needs to be removed. He's a bad hombre, as President Trump would say. He needs to get knocked out. And I'll explain why. I'm going to be posting it on Telegram at Bobby Piton. So I'm on Telegram and stuff too. But this whole point to what you're saying with the data and what I told this gentleman who's running for mayor, and I think it's extremely important for anybody running for political office. I said, look, do not believe the data that you're getting from the GOP, or even if you're a Democrat running, don't believe the Democrat data. They are literally shifting people's voting records and what their party affiliation is, to make it more difficult for a new person to win. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to run, I'm only going to spend my money trying to convince the GOP to win the votes, well, they might have shifted a bunch of people that were GOP voters into the Democratic column in the data set, so that then you don't even bother trying. And then meanwhile, they shifted some of the Democrats into the GOP data, so that then you're wasting your money when you advertise to those people. It's a mess. So what I would say is that if you're truly interested in running for office, you got to go back to the drawing board and just try to figure out a message and reach out to every American. So maybe that's the blessing in all this. If you're running for office in a particular spot, assume you got to convince everybody, because the data is so garbaged. They garbaged it up. They've done so many other manipulative things to the other fields that they must have like a coder ring sort of thing. They know what they did to it. But what I'm telling you is I've noticed this time and time again, not just in Arizona. As I look back at some of the findings, I'm seeing it in all these other states, and I'm definitely seeing it in Illinois in the local things, that they're manipulating this on a massive scale. There should be criminal charges against people that are manipulating the records of these fields, because I don't think it's being policed. And I think what they try to say is, oh, somebody hacked into our system, or, oh, this person didn't know, they weren't trained properly. And, anyways, for what it's worth. So to your point, with these numbers being all over the place like this, I can explain why I think those numbers jumped, if you like, with regards to this whole concept of the the U voters and then being able to switch out votes in a fraction of a second. I can hit on that because I have talked about that, but I don't think I had time to testify about it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you real quick is not all forensic audits are the same. So I wanted to get your opinion, who you might think would be the most fair to give us a true picture of the actual ballots and not the tabulating ballots where they're actually images and not the real thing. Who do you think will be able to do us the best job on that?
No, Peyton, not Peyton. Like I'm not related to Walter Payton of the Bears. Piton, Bobby, Bobby, and then Piton at Gmail. But people did confuse me with thinking I was Peyton growing up in Chicago. So, but the best person for the ballots, I that's a tough question because I haven't like researched it super thoroughly in terms of who has the equipment to do it. I do know that Jovan, he has a patent on a process or on a technology that seems as though that would be a phenomenal system to use, but I don't know. I don't know what other alternative technologies are being looked at. So I just don't have enough information to say who it would be. But if somebody has the technological process that can do it in a non-judgmental way, that's the best way to do it. Is like you want to take the human judgment out of it as much as possible. The other thing I did say, and by the way, I did speak with the team, and they asked me how would I tackle the problem if I did not have this patent. So I could share that with you if you like. And I said, well, if I was given the problem, and they said, Bobby, here are the ballots, go to work, what would you do? And I said, well, what I would do is I would scan the images of let's just say 1,000 ballots, and I would come up with a mathematical score for each of the markings on those ballots on how human beings write. It's kind of like handwriting analysis. And then from that analysis, you can create a machine language algorithm where it can mathematically score the probability and likelihood of that ballot with regards to how human beings write. And then it can create a score of the probability of whoever wrote on each of those ballots was the same handwriting. so then you can back out mathematically from a score on how each person fills out each of the boxes. What are the odds that it was the same person? Because people that do it, they can't control it. Like if I gave you 50 pieces of paper and I told you to write 50 different ways, your brain doesn't work that way. I would be able to decipher that you wrote on 15 of them. You might trick me on 35, but I would find 15 that you wrote in a similar structure and pattern because it's ingrained in us in the way we write. And anyway, so that's the way I would attack it.
Left-handers and right-handers.
Yeah, and then left-handers and right-handers, or if it was a machine that did it, there's talk that somebody printed the response on. So there's a lot of different ways you could use technology to expose all this.
Okay, hi Bobby, it's Liz. So I have a question for you.
Sure.
So if after this Arizona forensic audit, we do find a certain amount of fraudulent or illegal ballots,
yep,
what do you feel the state should do?
Well, yeah, so if let's just say there's 15,000 fraudulent ballots, right? Enough to flip it back to President Trump. I think if that happens, I think we're going to have a very interesting time in this country for at least 12 months, if not longer. And so if I had my suggestion, if I was testifying before Congress or Arizona, I'd be like, what should we do? I'd be like, first thing we need to do is we need to look at all the results in Arizona for every election this cycle in 2020, every single race. Because if the presidential race was tainted, then every other race is up for grabs as well. And I would probably call for a re-vote of every race in the state of Arizona for 2020. Secondly, what I would do is I would propose, if I was in the Arizona state legislature, I would immediately say any laws that were passed in the class of 2020, so to speak, they're all paused. Every single one of them, they're on pause, because we need to look to see if the votes cast for those laws in 2021 are legitimate votes. Do they have a right to be there and change the law for the state of 2021? So the question becomes, now granted, you'll have to have some kind of exceptions, because if there's budgets that have been passed, people still, government still needs to be up and running. So I wouldn't pause any of the money flows and people getting paid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about changes to the actual legislation, any kind of rules and regulation changes. And then with regards to monies being spent, if it's being spent to existing payroll, you leave that going. Any massive CapEx projects would need to be paused to be sure it's truly a reflection of the will of the people of Arizona. I don't think that's inappropriate, because if the will of the people did not want the current legislature in place, and it would have changed by 4 different seats that changed the outcome of different votes this year, then they deserve that. And then some of this legislation that was mispassed, so to speak, should be examined. And then if this happened, if Arizona, I'm not going to kid you, I'd probably go back a decade. I would be like, I want to look at 10 years of these races, and then I want to look at any of the laws passed by different people that might have cheated, if we can figure it out. And then any of those laws should be back up on the table to be examined if they should be either eliminated, stricken from the record, or they have to be reconfirmed by a legitimate legislature of Arizona. So it'd be like, okay, here are the laws that passed in the last 10 years. These 70% of them were, controversial. What's that?
Now, that one is a little bit limited. I would love to meet
I'm sorry?
you sometime, and I'm sure all of us in here, for you coming out on here and just giving us a good 20-minute of your thoughts. I really appreciate all the work that you put into not only Arizona, but
I'm losing you a little bit.
Michigan and a lot of the other Pennsylvania and both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Thank you
so much.
No problem. Thank you. Okay. All right, folks. So, okay. They just had me for 20 minutes. Anyways, that was quick. So anybody have any questions before I log off for the night? I'm more than happy to kind of share some of my thoughts. I don't know if you got to hear the questions that they were asking, because their side wasn't live, but I'm more than happy to share any kind of questions that you guys have. Why aren't the GOP using the courts like the Dems did? Well, because the GOP is the one that created this mess. I hate to say it, folks. I've voted for the GOP my whole life, and unfortunately, they're the ones that probably created this mess about 22 years ago, maybe sooner, with this individual called Bush, as well as this traitor called John McCain. So those are the two individuals that put this into motion. The Democrats just became more efficient and better at cheating than the Republicans did. So, what other questions? I think they should have you talk. Yeah, they have 90 people there, and they have Congressman Biggs and a bunch of other people from the Arizona Senate, and so. This meeting wasn't set up for me, folks. They just asked if I would chime in, and I said, sure, I could talk for a few minutes. So they let me talk for 20, surprisingly. Do you feel they are legitimately trying to get to the bottom? I do believe they are trying to get to the bottom of fraud. One of the individuals that may be winning this bid to do the work has contacted me a few weeks back. I did tell Liz I thought they would be contacting me, or somebody would, and they asked me if I would look at the data, and I said that I would definitely be helping in one way, shape, or form. Just not exactly which way, but I'm willing to re-examine the problem with better processes from the start. Do you think they know what you know as far as corruption? I think there's some people that created the corruption that know that I know. I don't know if that answers your question, Maria, but I do think that there's some people like, how'd that son of a bitch figure it out? So if that's what you're asking. $1 billion for the next governor race. How the hell they get $1 billion? I don't know if that's true. Is that true, Terry? Where'd you hear that? The guy sounded like he was trying to shut you down. No, he wasn't trying to shut me down. Liz was telling me that, I only had a few minutes. And them letting me speak for 20 minutes was a surprise. That's what I'm saying. I'm a little long-winded. I'm surprised they didn't cut me off a little sooner. Why are these corruptions? Yeah, well, because we the people need to demand it. That's the problem. Any thoughts on irregular ballots and destruction? If any irregular ballots should not be counted at all. And then if they've been destroyed, they should be taken away from whoever supposedly won. The McCain said they're going to spend $1 billion. You know if the Arizona Senate is still wanting the audit team to sign a non-disclosure? That I do not know. I do not know if what they're trying to do. I did say that anything that I would be involved with, just so you know, is I said any work that I do I reserve the right at the appropriate time to make it publicly available. Otherwise, I'm not doing it. So that's what I will say is that I said if I'm doing the work, I'm not getting paid to do this work. I'm going to I reserve the right to share my findings with the American people. Spend that kind of. Yep. Well, there's a lot of theft going on. But yeah, so that's about it, folks. I mean, yeah, see, I don't know all these statutes, folks. If I end up building an organization that looks into this nationwide, then I would definitely learn all these laws a little more. But, you got to remember, man, I'm just doing this all by myself at this point. I don't have a team of people doing this with me. I'm really fast at doing this. 16624. Please look up Arizona. Okay. I will definitely check that out. If you can email it to me, I got to email it to myself because I'm not going to remember 16624. So let me just email it before I forget. 16624 Arizona. Okay. So I just sent it to myself and we'll see what happens. Terry Girl McCain and the Skybridge plan with the drug dealers. Yeah, that all has to get cleaned up. So, anyways, I'll definitely take a look. Oh, so I think that's it. I'll take a look. ELHP. So, with that being said, I'm not sure if anybody else has anything that they want to ask. Hold on a second. I'll just take a last couple questions. Yeah, I do agree, Caleb, that we need a plan. I've been working on a plan for what needs to be done. Are you keeping an eye out for the corporations who are setting up the possibility to get government funding related to carbon tax in order to launder taxpayer money? Yeah, it wouldn't shock me that they're doing that. Wow. So YouTube recommended me. I heard YouTube is censoring me, so I'm not sure which one it is. You know, I'm not exactly sure. Any chance you could try to help Georgia? Actually, I am trying to help Georgia, believe it or not, in more ways than you could ever imagine right now. And so, what I would say is, if I get interviewed by Monica Matthews in the next few days, then I might be posting something there. And so, have a listen to Monica Matthews. I'll post the link if I'm going to get interviewed on there. So, I think that's it. Well, hope in Christ. Christ is amazing, but I'm just trying to do my part, and God asked me to help with some of my skills, and everybody's trying to do all this. Everybody's trying to help and so forth. So thank you for the kind words. A lot of corruption with the Loop 2002. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much theft going on everywhere. Yeah, Monica on air. That's the one. Mm-hmm. So I may be on her show next few days. We'll see. Can we clean up Illinois? Yeah, Kinzinger's a piece of garbage. Yeah, I agree. Pritzker needs to go. So will you say a quick prayer for Illinois? Yes. Lord, please bring justice to Illinois. It is rooted in corruption at every level of government across all 102 counties, and we pray that you send us guidance and help to restore justice and liberty for all. In particular, doing away with all the evil that the current legislatures is passing on to the people of Illinois. It's extremely sad. Do you regret missing your opportunity later? Do all you can. Yep, I agree. Illinois is tough. I don't know. So, yeah, Illinois is a big mess. So we're trying, folks. We just have to keep fighting, and I do think that justice will ultimately prevail. And Wendy, I did get your message on LinkedIn, and I will definitely. I think I got your email as well. It's just I'm trying to hire some additional staff to help me with all this stuff because I got to also do my job, and I got to do this work that I'm volunteering for. And I appreciate all the feedback, and I try to keep up with it. It's just it's a bit much, and I wish I had a way to kind of respond in groupings, so to speak, or not groupings, but like I could pull similar messages and do something. So in terms of the new group, I'll let you know when I have that up and running. But right now, I'm just trying to get the data. I'm going to work on Arizona again, and then I have some other stuff that I'm working on, possibly for Georgia. So stay tuned with Georgia. I might have some interesting news there in the not too distant future. And Georgia is pretty exciting. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm excited about Arizona, but if what I dreamt about with regards to Georgia comes to pass, it could be very interesting, not just for the state of Georgia and the people of Georgia, but for the entire nation. So it would be pretty cool. And so when that's that. So thank you guys so much for signing in. I really appreciate it. God bless you. God bless your family and friends. May God continue to bless the greatest nation in the history of the world. We'll get through this together. Let's just keep staying active in citizenship, take every level of government back from these criminals, and put good people back into office. And I'm pretty excited about that. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a wonderful night. Thank you for chiming in.